How did James Gunn rescue Superman, not just from supervillains, but from decades of relentless criticism that threatened to make him irrelevant? For years, the Man of Steel was branded boring, too powerful, and utterly out of touch. His very image, a beacon of hope, had become a mess. But Gunn, with a surgical precision, dove into the character's rich history, extracting the finest elements from various comic iterations to forge a new Superman that obliterates those old issues, securing his place in a cynical new age. One of the biggest knocks against Superman has always been his perceived lack of humanity. He's an alien, a godlike figure who feels too perfect, too far removed to connect with us mere mortals. This idea solidified in the 60s and 70s thanks to Donner's portrayal of Reeves' Superman as an incorruptible, flawless icon. He wasn't a regular guy with powers. He was a role model, an ideal we aspired to, not someone we related to. Think of the scene in Superman 2, where he practically asks his mother for permission to pursue Lois Lane, the love of his life. His mother's response? To enjoy mortal pleasures, he must live like one, shedding his powers. This vision, while effective in selling Superman as an inspiring icon in his era, a concept beautifully echoed in All-Star Superman and Doomsday Clock, struggles to resonate with today's often jaded and disillusioned audience. This Superman felt like a god in human clothing, perpetually beyond our grasp. But Gunn masterfully flipped this script, presenting Superman as a human with godlike powers. This subtle yet monumental shift shines through in the interview scene at Lois's apartment. Clark explains his intervention in the Baravian conflict was to prevent innocent lives from being snuffed out, not to seek permission from any government. He champions the idea of simply doing good, representing himself and that singular ideal. While he still embodies the classic values, much like Reeves' Superman who answered to no direct government, this new Kal-El exhibits human frustration. When Lois challenges his actions, bringing up the super shit hashtag, Clark explodes, ultimately storming out. He can't charm his way through every problem with a smile anymore. He's having a heated, perfectly normal argument with his partner over something he's absolutely convinced he's right about. You might not have crash-landed on Earth or be able to lift a planet, but chances are you've been there. Gunn's Superman in the suit is the hero we know, but outside of it, he grapples with the same messy emotions as anyone else. What's truly remarkable is that he achieves this without resorting to the tired trope of balancing personal and heroic lives, a cliché that would reduce him to another Spider-Man or Invincible. Instead, he's grounded. He enjoys coffee, gets pissed when his dog is dognapped, and talks about music just like anyone in a casual chat. These small, humanizing details transform him from a messianic figure into a person who happens to have powers, a hero who still inspires by simply striving to do the right thing, as seen when he tries to restrain the kaiju alive in Metropolis because it's just a confused creature. James Gunn might not have invented the humanized Superman. Mark Waid explored it in Superman Birthright, and Jeff Loeb's Batman called him the most human of all. But Gunn brought that version to the big screen like never before, and for that, he deserves all the props. Another contentious hurdle for Gunn was Superman's design, particularly the dreaded red trunks. Hardcore fans demand them, citing tradition, while others scoff, arguing no one wears their underwear on the outside. The trunks were a product of the 1930s, inspired by strongmen of the era. If you saw a guy in trunks over his tights, you knew he was tough, but that's ancient history. Modern heroes, from Daredevil to Batman, shed their external undies, opting for practical armor or updated designs that make sense. Superman
wasn't
followed
representing
suit.
the United States.
Directors, wary of alienating casual viewers, often ditched the trunks, favoring designs like those in Man of Steel or the New 52's Kryptonian armor, with its high collar and muted colors, mirroring the more realistic MCU aesthetic. While believable, they lacked the vibrant distinctiveness of the original. Yet, the fan base wasn't universally happy. The Trunks returned in comics and shows like My Adventures with Superman. Gunn's solution was a brilliant fusion. A classic look for the purists, featuring the yellow S on the cape, the iconic red trunks, and a bright blue suit, but with modern lines and the new 52's collar to evoke Kryptonian tech. To prevent it from looking utterly ridiculous, Gunn adjusted the entire vibe of the film. The new DCU embraces its comic book roots, unashamedly fantastical. Characters might face relatable human problems, complete with bot farms and social media attacks, but it's a world teeming with fictional cities, pocket universes, and metropolitans who casually coexist with kaijus and metahumans. In this context, Superman wearing his trunks on the outside is the least bizarre thing happening. He doesn't look like a clown who dressed backward. His design simply fits the movie's vibrant, slightly heightened reality. And while I had my doubts from early photos, seeing it in action, it works. The lines might be a bit much for me personally, and I wish the suit hugged Corenswet a little tighter, but these are minor quibbles. Overall, Gunn has delivered a classic Superman look that's both iconic and perfectly integrated into his cinematic universe. The third persistent problem dogging Superman has been his absurd power level. In the Silver Age, he was practically invincible, capable of anything from shooting mini-Supermen from his fingers to dragging entire solar systems. This often led to dull stories, lacking any real stakes. Unless kryptonite, magic, or a red sun appeared, Superman would effortlessly breeze through any challenge. Gunn understood this from the outset. Before the movie's release, he declared his intention to make this Superman feel vulnerable and beatable without nerfing him, without turning him into a pushover. His chosen middle ground? A power level akin to the post-crisis Superman from the comics, coupled with enemies who exploit his weaknesses in genuinely creative ways. The first hint of this vulnerability comes early, with the revelation that Superman lost his initial battle in 3 years against the Goravian Hammer, later revealed to be Ultraman, a clone rumored to be even stronger than him. Lex Luthor, having obsessed over Superman for years, developed 2,500 techniques designed to target his weaknesses. Critically, this version of the Man of Steel isn't a trained fighter. Ultraman's victories make perfect sense because he's as strong or stronger, and he actually knows how to fight. This is a rarely explored vulnerability. Superman, despite his cosmic power, is rarely a skilled martial artist like Batman or Wonder Woman. While usually unnecessary, against an equally powerful foe, fighting prowess becomes crucial. This was briefly touched upon when Zod mocked his farm boy fighting style in Man of Steel, but with Corenswet Superman, his struggle against his skilled clone is crystal clear, revealing a weakness he'll need to address. His weaknesses are further exploited when Metamorpho uses kryptonite, leaving Superman poisoned and barely able to stand for hours. Even after artificial sunlight, he never fully recovers, struggling against Lex's men at the Anti-Proton River. This scene hums with tension. Superman, weakened, must protect Metamorpho's child from the deadly river while fending off multiple attackers. If he were at full strength, this would be a trivial task. Instead, Gunn uses his compromised state to put both Superman and the baby in genuine peril, heightening the drama. In the third act, the engineer uses her nanites to literally suffocate him. While Superman is invulnerable to most physical harm and can hold his breath for hours, he still needs air. The nanites infiltrate his mouth, filling his lungs and shutting down his optic nerves, blinding him. Trapped in the stadium brawl, unable to see or physically remove the nanites, he's forced to rely on his intellect. His ingenious escape involves flying into the upper atmosphere to clear his face, then plummeting back down to dislodge the remaining nanites with the impact. The scene is heart-pounding because it genuinely feels like Superman could lose. Luthor's triumphant smirk says it all, but make no mistake, this doesn't mean Superman is a pushover. He might take a beating, but he's far from nerfed. He can still lift entire buildings and wipe out Luthor's army in mere seconds. He's akin to the Justice League Unlimited Superman, who confesses to Darkseid that he constantly holds back to avoid accidentally killing anyone. This immense, controlled power is evident in the kaiju scene. Superman could dispatch the creature with a single blow, but in the middle of Metropolis, he can't simply toss it around, risking thousands of lives and collapsing dozens of buildings. Every hit he lands must be carefully calculated to prevent civilian casualties. He can't unleash his full strength for a quick resolution, proving his greatest weakness might just be his unwavering desire to save everyone. But make no mistake, this doesn't mean Superman is a pushover. He might take a beating, but he's far from nerfed. He can still lift entire buildings and wipe out Luthor's army in mere seconds. He's akin to the Justice League Unlimited Superman, who confesses to Darkseid that he constantly holds back to avoid accidentally killing anyone. This immense, controlled power is evident in the kaiju scene. Superman could dispatch the creature with a single blow, but in the middle of Metropolis, he can't simply toss it around, risking thousands of lives and collapsing dozens of buildings. Every hit he lands must be carefully calculated to prevent civilian casualties. He can't unleash his full strength for a quick resolution, proving his greatest weakness might just be his unwavering desire to save everyone. So, James Gunn has given us a Superman who upholds classic values, looks ripped straight from the comics, and remains incredibly powerful, yet can still be outmaneuvered, beaten, and pushed to his limits. With this masterful reinvention, Gunn has succeeded in making Superman resonate with a new generation, injecting a vital burst of popularity into a character some had deemed obsolete. Believe it or not, the Big Blue has faced plenty of rough patches across his 47-year movie history.